You are about to listen to the words of Fethullah Gulen, a distinguished Islamic scholar and thinker. In this podcast, you will hear his essay, Devout Architects of Our Souls.
Although there are those who frown upon moral values, the inner depths of a person, and the importance of heart and spiritual life today, there is no doubt that the path to true humanity passes through these values. Regardless of what some skeptics may think, the only solution that will save people of our time, who carry an immense burden of various social, economic, political, and cultural crises on their backs, from successive crises and anxieties, must be the implementation of these dynamics. The realization of such a vital mission will only be possible through God-conscious individuals who never think about themselves and who, if they do, see their salvation in saving others. From a true Islamic perspective, being saved in the sight of God depends on the effort and endeavor to be a savior. We see the security and peace of our distant and near future in being a refuge for other souls, in injecting strength into their willpower, enlivening their spiritual life, and we want to take our place among those who always brave fires and turn their backs on personal interests. Indeed, the moral character of our actions is closely related to such a sense of responsibility that has become an ideal in our souls. Indeed, such a spirit of responsibility, such a sublime determination and commitment to guide, constitutes the most vital core of the order, embracing all existence, and is considered the most important source of universal peace. This spirit of responsibility almost always transcends the limits of our individuality. It is the sole basis of our salvation and the most effective voice and the most eloquent language that will whisper the spirit and meaning that all of humanity needs. There is no salvation for those who are indifferent to the universal order of existence, who spend their lives in the dark labyrinths of the ego. For not only do they perish, but they lead their sympathizers to perish as well. Human progress occurs when we walk in harmony with the order of existence. Today, those who wish to participate in the building of the future should abandon egoism and realize their interdependence, for our individual ideals are only valuable when they become part of a shared conscience. Indeed, to live with others and to live for others, our ego must first melt away. In fact, in order to keep others alive and live with others, melting and disappearing within them, merging and integrating with them is the only way to become a community from an individual, to become an ocean from a drop, and therefore to attain immortality. In order to fulfill the purpose of our creation, we must heed the commands of our hearts and not be distracted by our animal nature and trivial worries. In order to better know ourselves and our world, we must view all things through the eyes of the heart and evaluate them through the generosity of the heart. If we cannot guard the purity of our souls or the vigor of our hearts, if we cannot remain as innocent as children, then no matter how rich our mental capacity or how vast our knowledge, then we will not inspire trust in the people around us and we will not be believable. This is why the majority of people do not trust some politicians who prioritize power over logic, common sense, and conscience, with the exception of those who pretend to believe them out of fear or subjugation. A man with a pure soul is known by the cleanliness of his thoughts and the honesty of his actions. In the Islamic tradition, the heart that remains pure is considered to be a house of God, a place where we discover Him hidden like a treasure. The more immaculate this house, the more one will encounter the divine truth there. It is in this sense that the heroes of spirituality have proclaimed, "I have seen the truth." These pure souls discover the gardens of paradise in themselves. Their hearts contain the seed of the tuba tree of the paradise, capable of discerning the universe in a single atom. Such souls approach the horizon of the divine. The Quran describes these people of the heart as heroes of truth who think, perceive, and act with conscience. They speak gently, demonstrate mercy, and behave with refinement. They lead others to an intimate knowledge of creation, expressing the true meaning and purpose of life. These devout ones strive to offer the elixir of infinity to every soul. They exist simultaneously in the depths of their own selves and in the furthest reaches of the external world, in their own hearts and in the presence of their Lord. They hold fast to this apparent contradiction by denying their personal interests completely. Their sacrificial hearts are like those of the prophets, and they promote the happiness of their neighbors without regard for their own physical needs. They work diligently to build their community as if it were an ever-expanding pattern of embroidery, and they suffer alongside all humanity as they continue to work for peace. They struggle against the evils that plague the world, particularly those faced by their own nation. They do not waste their efforts simply talking about injustice, for this will only mislead pure minds. Instead, they painstakingly plan solutions and implement them with passion. With the heroic resolve of the prophets, they tackle the problems of their day out of a love of duty, a strong sense of responsibility, and a constant awareness of God. Humble and poor before God, they learn to rely fully on His power and wealth. Enthusiastic and thankful towards Him, they feel the burden of their responsibility towards others. This is such a responsibility that nothing that is within the grasp of perception and willpower is exempted from it. Responsibility toward the universe and events, toward nature and society, toward the past and the future, toward the living and the dead, toward the young and the old, toward the learned and the ignorant, toward governance and security, in short, a sense of responsibility toward everything and everybody. People who embrace this responsibility carry its weight on their shoulders and its pain in their hearts, and it becomes their top priority. I believe it is this sense of responsibility that resembles the resolve of the prophets that is essence of the true spiritual ascension that elevates the human being to the highest ranks and brings them close to God. The suffering that accompanies this responsibility, especially if it is consistent, is a prayer that will never be rejected. For sincere consciences, it is a powerful impetus towards purity. The magnitude of this suffering inspires people of the Spirit to work beyond their own ability. Thus, they embody the potential of all past and future generations. Here we should remember the difference between those who live for themselves and those who live for others. Those who live for others with sincerity, loyalty, and generosity neglect themselves in order to better serve others. They are the true inheritors of the perennial truths to whom we can entrust our souls. They do not desire to be followed, but their spiritual presence is such an irresistible invitation that, no matter where they are, people will run to them. The future will be the result of their devout work, a display of their responsibility and accomplishment. Our people, our civilization, and our culture will be carried into the future on the shoulders of these faithful ones, for they are the trustees of lofty truths, the possessors of our rich heritage, and the true architects of our souls. To be heirs of history means guarding the past as if it were a treasure, enriching our traditions through our own effort, and delivering our values to the generations of the future. If our generation does not fulfill this historic task, the present will be ruined, the future will be wasted. If they surrender to indolence, if they neglect their responsibility, even if they distract themselves with the beauties of hereafter, then they will have failed at their task and betrayed the trust of our history. For the present and the future of our existence, we must be hopeful about shaping the future. It is crucial that this intention and commitment be the top priority of our emotions, thoughts, and plans. Failure to do this is a disrespect and betrayal of our people. It is high time that we support all of our institutions of religion, science, art, morality, economy, and family, and that we uplift them to the dignity of their history. As a community, we look for the people of will and determination who will take up this responsibility. We do not need the aid of foreign ideologies or favors. We need physicians of spirit and thought who can enliven in our people an awareness of their responsibility. We need those who will not simply promise us fleeting enjoyment, but will illuminate the depths of our souls. Those who can inspire us towards spiritual heights, where we see the beginning, the present, and beyond. We are waiting for the devout ones who so cherish their responsibility that they would even give up paradise in order to fulfill it. the kind of people who will say, like Prophet Muhammad, upon whom be peace, "If the sun is put on my right shoulder and the moon on my left, I will never abandon my task." This is the spiritual commitment of God's prophets. Enraptured by the light of their horizon, they passionately say, like Bediüzzaman, "In my eyes I have neither love of paradise nor fear of hell. If I see the faith of my people secure, I will be ready to be burned in hellfire." Opening their hands, they plead, like the first Caliph Abu Bakr, "O Lord, make my body so great that I alone fill up hell, and thus no place may be left for others." This is a prayer that can shake the heavens. Today, humanity desperately needs people of such spiritual depth, people who cry for the sins of others, who expect the forgiveness of humanity before their own forgiveness, who would stay in Araf, the middle point between hell and paradise, if it meant that others could enter paradise, who, even if they entered paradise, would be too preoccupied with the concern of others to enjoy its bounties.
You have just listened to the words of Fethullah Gulen, brought to life through an AI-generated voice. Known for his teachings on faith, interfaith dialogue, peace, and education, Meister Gulen also inspired the Hizmet movement, a global initiative that promotes democracy, human rights, equality, and nonviolence. To learn more about Fethullah Gulen and the Hizmet movement, visit fgulen.com.